What do you think of when you hear passenger train? Maybe a gritty, old system that is noisy, bumpy, and takes too long to get to your stop, despite you paying so much for it? Do you also think about how wasteful they are, how often the rails need to be replaced, where that useless, rusted iron goes? Why is such a large part of many people's lives so inefficient? This is what we here at Magnetum set out to answer. It all started with an idea. What are we gonna do, guys? I kind of want to do something about trains. I know they're not as good as they could be.
I mean, yeah, they're super slow, and at least here in America, they're not used at all.
Current trains are very, very loud and very gross. Have you ever been on the subway?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, let's say there's a reason I don't like New York. Um, well, the last time America was known for their trains was like in the 1800s. It's time we like take it into the future.
Yeah, we haven't really upgraded since then. I mean, we sort of have electric drive. They're using electric motors now instead of like steam engines and such. But they still use the same like rail system. It's still a wheel sitting on a big piece of iron. I mean, where's all that iron go? It's like all rusted up and sitting in a junkyard somewhere.
Yeah, plus like it's so close together.
You can't go
it's
to
so
it either.
wobbly.
You can't even go to the rail. It's trespassing.
Yeah, so, I mean, exactly.
And it's super dangerous.
So dangerous.
Like, yeah. Okay, so like the way like how should trains be? They should be like safe, of course, clean, efficient, silent, really fast. Is there anything
fast
like,
is important?
Is there anything that like makes something be like all that? Yes,
something that could be more efficient.
It also needs to be able to take on a lot of weight.
Yeah. Something that needs to be efficient. That way, sort of like the long-term cost of it would be really cheap. So making tickets cheaper.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Well, one of the like the coolest train systems that like are around right now are like the Chinese ones, and they're like magnetic levitation trains.
That's a thing, though. Magnets are great and all, especially electromagnets, but that takes a lot of power, doesn't it? Like a lot of electricity.
I use my fridge occasionally.
That's true. Actually, I was just reading an article a few days ago, and there's something called superconductors.
Superconductors, I've heard about them.
Yeah. They make, I forgot what they like what the reason is, but they make things just levitate with their magnetic fields.
So basically, the way that superconductors work, certain material is cooled to what's called its transition temperature. It allows electrons to freely pass through them with zero resistance, what's called electrical resistance. Now, this causes some pretty wacky stuff through a lot of math and physics we're not going to get into until much later.
That makes
but
a
it
lot of
causes
sense,
them to float just above magnets, and I mean, that eliminates half of the magnets necessary in a magnetic train.
Yeah, but you said they have to be super cooled, so
this is true.
That would be really interesting to make.
Yeah, the technology is not exactly there yet, so maybe we could start with something with magnets, and I don't know,
make it so that we could transition it, like switch it out and put superconductors and make it work the same way, right?
Right. So the technology exists, quote unquote, but it's not feasible. So maybe as it advances, make it so that it can be switched over easily.
Yeah. Oh, then that's brilliant. We can make a train system that uses magnets and electromagnets to have the train go fast, safe, efficiently, and then have it be so that you can just switch out like a test bed or like a piece of filament, and then switch that over to graphite or graphene, and then just have it right over a superconductor. And then you have a completely safe, completely soundless train system. That'd be brilliant.
And it'd be really smooth, too.
This idea would take a lot of conceptualizing, designing, and prototyping before it would ever see the light of day. We spent hours trying to perfect the design, talking to professionals and talking amongst ourselves, trying to figure out just how to deliver on such a complex idea.
We need to think to ourselves, how are we going to take this idea that we have of a superconductive, levitating,
or electromagnetic
train,
basically.
How are we going to make this thing into a reality, or at least a prototype that we can take to a senior expo?
Well, first thing that we have to realize is that the best thing we can do with superconductors is have them as the flashy best thing, next thing to have them. What's going to be more feasible is going to be electromagnets and coils.
I like that idea. We could have like at the expo, we can have like, we can have our regular, quote unquote, regular
Yeah.
electromagnetic train and track. And then we can have like a small display with like a bunch of magnets and a superconductor kind of going across it.
Oh, what we could do is that since we're gonna have to do a lot of prototyping because this is gonna be hard,
Oh yeah.
what we could do is we could in the expo kind of just show the slow progress, like make the first prototype, the second one, the third one, a cool little narrative of progress
Mm.
for this technology. That'd be really cool, right?
Oh yeah. All right. Let's see those sketches. Let's see what we got.
Yeah. So what we have so far are these. What I think is that Max's designs are really good for actionable ideas because for like big implementations they're harder to build. Mine are more technical and they can be implemented along bigger areas, but they're not as feasible. And of course I didn't mention a lot of the like nitty gritty of how we're going to build it. um and yeah.
And then, but one of the problems that we need to think about is what about the people who are riding the train?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
It's not just
what are they gonna be
Like-
sitting in? I guess that's the kind of the
like,
important
yeah.
part, right? We're
How
gonna
are they
sell
gonna be
it to
sitting
the
down?
people.
Are they gonna be? Is it gonna be like common trains, or are they gonna be sitting in aisles? What's
Mm,
gonna be comfortable to them to want them to ride these trains?
right. We don't want to just solve the inefficiency and the cost. We want to make sure it's comfortable as well, more comfortable than others.
and thankfully we have this design for that.
Mhm.
And it looks pretty comfortable. So what I think would be ideal is that we use Max's design for the actual experimentation, and then we use this my design for the propelling and moving mechanisms, and that way we have a proper system,
Mm,
right? So for that, I actually have like a an idea of what we could do for prototyping, right?
mm.
So we could have these 4 stages and have each of them in our presentations to have.
Oh, so these are sort of like proof of concepts of
Yeah.
our proof of concepts.
And the good thing is that we could have each one of them for our presentation. So have like a couple of stands and have it like be like a little narrative. So the first idea was, making things float, which sounds pretty simple, but we're gonna have to make sure the coil is right. There's a lot of physics behind it, and we're gonna end up needing is just a coil, a battery, a voltage modulator, which will control the strength of the coil. And then as we control the coil, the strength of the magnetic field of the coil, we can make this thing just go up and down per our request. And that's going to be the simplest one of them. The next one is going to be a lot harder, and it revolves around coils, which are just barbed wire around a magnet. Um, and they make a lot of stronger magnetic fields. We're going to have to use a modulator or a computer to control this one, and then controlling the current that's going through them, we can control what polarity it is, and depending on what side is more positive than the other, this will just go from one side to the other, like, which will be pretty cool, especially because we can have them be really powerful and have like somebody pushing against them. The next one is going to be really cool because we're just going to make a pool table that floats. Um, so these here are Halbeck arrays. They're magnets positioned in really cool ways, and they make a really strong magnetic field that's uniform. And let's say we have a magnetized, just an iron core. If we throw it into it, and if it's magnetized the right way, it will stay there and then ricochet out the other way, as if it was, hitting a table, but it's just hitting the magnetic field.
So this is sort of like what we'll be showing off
Yeah.
with like the superconductor aspect. So obviously we're probably not going to be able to make a superconductor drive around at our will without just flicking it forward. So this will sort of be just to show like what superconductors are capable of.
Not quite. This is just going to be the test bed. The fourth one, for our final product, the one that we want to actually implement, the whole test bed would just be a file of superconductors because that's what's generating the magnetic field. For the last design, we're just gonna have like the one that we're actually showing is gonna be a bunch of coils and then the Halbeck array, which will hopefully end up switching for a superconductor. And then a magnetic piece can just float around the magnetic field, moved along by the coils, and then we have a system to control it. And with this one, we can edit it, we can make it, we can control it, we can make a whole track of it, and have our nice little train float along it as long as there's a magnet to it. So it could be pretty cool.
Nice.
In conclusion, we are unsatisfied with the performance of modern train systems and seek change. We want to do this by creating a train that levitates via superconductors. So, thus far, we have spoken with a mentor about how we would theoretically implement this technology full scale, thought up many designs and settled on one, and decided on prototypes and how to prove those concepts. And with that, we thank you for watching and hope that one day you write Magnetum.